Welcome to our SILS Connections, which is a new virtual alumni engagement event that SILS is putting on, hopefully throughout 2020. So this is our May version. My name is Lori Haight, and I serve as the Career Services Coordinator. Thank you very much for coming. And today we have Connor Paul joining us, and I'll let him introduce himself and his BSIS background and what he's doing with that now.
Sure, thank you so much, Lori. So my name's Connor Paul. I actually graduated in 2014 BSIS. Oh no, 2018. I started in 2014, graduated 2018 BSIS. After that, I got a job at Fidelity, one of which I learned about actually in Professor Jarahi's class when he has students come back and talk. So I was interested and I applied, I got that job. Started off as a software developer. After that, I really started going into cloud, got an AWS certification. Then I started helping them manage about 15 web apps in AWS, helping architect all those solutions. Got some more skills, and then I transferred to a new job recently in this past November with IBM. So now I work in their Cloud Pak team, and I pretty much am a consultant for IBM. So clients come to us and they talk about, they want to set up cloud architecture, they want to use Red Hat OpenShift, they want to containerize applications and deploy these things to the cloud, and IBM will ship me out to them pretty much, and I'll help them build all these environments. And then, help push them into more sales, help them go through our garage experience and everything. It's pretty much just a pathway to take old tech to new tech. And
are you part of a team, Connor, or are you?
Yeah, so I am part of a team. It's a little weird because we are consultants basically. So we have a broader organization called CPAT, which is Cloud Pak's acceleration team. We sell a couple of products like Cloud Pak for applications, Cloud Pak for data, Cloud Pak for integration, and it's all things centered around modernizing technology for our clients. And so in that, I work specifically on the applications and data side. So on my app team, I'm a squad lead of about 7 of us. And then within that, we are also split up into other client engagements. So for example, I'm working on a new one right now coming up, TD Bank, and I'm working on that. So other people are working on some other ones, maybe Walmart or, some other companies. So we work on client engagements, and then we come together and learn together, help share our knowledge. What do we need to get up to speed on? What did I experience that I wasn't, expecting? We all get better, and then we go out again and are just better for the next clients.
And had your Fidelity role also been consultant based or not as much?
No, my Fidelity role was specifically with Fidelity. So I helped manage Fidelity products. So I actually worked in Fidelity funds and investment operations, which pretty much manages things like investments for big 401k mutual funds. So I would help create like the database and web at front ends, for people who work there and help manage, okay, I've got this much money today. I need to make this much trades for my mutual fund. What do I need to do today? So it's fund managers. So it was a small group that we, focused on and helped, but the impact was very large. And we had about 15 web apps in AWS, completely all managed in the cloud. And we migrated that from on-prem to the cloud. So that was a huge undertaking for us, but I really liked it. I got to, do that one thing where every day I was working on one product, helping one person, seeing the progression of the same thing for over a year, building out this product. And I liked that a lot. And then I was like, I really like teaching. I like sharing and stuff like that. So now I went to this consulting role where I get to go in for a little bit, just like plugged in like a shot of adrenaline, get something done really quick in a few weeks time, 2 to 6 weeks, maybe depending on what you need, help you out, teach you how to do it, give you the tools you need to continue, and then go on to the next one,
Well, I know one of the reasons that Professor Jahari continues to invite you back is because you're really good at being able to convert what you learn in the classroom to what actually is happening in organizations. And so can you kind of dissect that a little bit for students who are like, I have a lot of students who come to me that say, I love information science. How can I make this a job?
Yeah, so the main thing that I say is, try to do those internships and try to get that SILS class. I forgot the name exactly. It's like $393.
Field experience.
Yeah,
yes.
Field experience, right? This is really important because information science, like the beauty of doing information science versus computer science at UNC is that broad range. Like when I was in computer science, I coded Java for however many semesters, right? When I came to information science, I did some human computer interaction, I did some security, I did some database stuff, I did some stuff for underprivileged people, right? It was that broad range. Sometimes that makes people feel like, oh, there's so much, I don't know what I want to do. What can I do with this? And I say it's those internships, take those internships. You're like, I don't even know if I'm interested in this stuff. But when you do that, you learn the tech, you start to learn about other products. Oh, that's a little interesting. Or you meet someone else on the team or someone else in the company who does something interesting. And those little chats help you find it. So that's what I did. I was in SILS and I started doing some admin work for iBiblio, right? And so I was pretty much just doing coding, not actual coding, but like just server admin stuff, and then I also worked for the computing department and I helped them manage clusters of computers. And I was like, oh, I like that. And so when I went to my other job and I learned about, AWS servers and computer servers, I was like, oh, I have that experience. I don't know anything about the cloud. I hear stuff about it, but, let's see. And then I got, and I was like, oh, I can do this. And then I got certified. So it's really just about being open to try all these things, even if you don't necessarily think that, you're going to like it. It's just giving you that extra foot, maybe just an extra opportunity to find something else you like. Like I said, I just found things not even related to the internship, but just someone else was doing it. And I was like, that's cool. Let me try that,
Yeah, I agree with you that it's not really important what the internship does because you'll learn something from it. And
Yeah,
then even if you say you never do that again.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know if I'll ever be an admin for something like iBiblio again, but what did it help me? It really helped me build my Linux skills, so my command line skills. So now when I'm in the cloud, and I'm managing computer clusters for clients, we're running Linux, we're running Red Hat Enterprise Linux especially. So great, now I can maneuver and control all these things much easier. And all that comes from just that internship where I didn't even know. I was like, hey, I just want to get something done. I don't care about getting paid. I want something, to build my resume, to build me up. And down the line, a couple of years, it's totally paying off.
How did you get interested in shifting to IBM? Did you know people there or you just saw an ad or?
Yeah, so basically I knew when I was hired at Fidelity, right? There's a bunch of things that go into like what you decide, like pay, 401k, obviously benefits, location, what it was. So I first joined Fidelity through their LEAP program, which is like one of the accelerated programs that all these big companies are coming out with for graduates. It's like, hey, we're not gonna like put you on a team and train you for this one team. We're gonna put you with 100 new hires and we're gonna crank through learning for like 6 months. Teach you all the tech, teach you all the stuff about the company. Then we'll put you on a team and you can learn some more skills for that. But we built you up with like our company's values, things like that. So I started like that. And I knew that I got hired as a data engineer, right? Because I loved my database classes at SILS. Like I was just loving them and it was just so much fun. And that got me my job. So I did that, learned the skills there, got placed on a project, right? They give you a practice project, one that you could learn, practice. And it was on the AWS cloud. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And I was like, wait, I understand this stuff. The people around me are, they're having a little harder time. Like maybe I'm just getting this. Maybe it's just easier for me. So then I did a little bit more learning and I was like, hey, there's a certification out right here. It's like $150. Let's just do that. Got the certification. And then I got the new job at Fidelity that was like managing all the AWS stuff. And I was like, hey, after a year of working, I know my skills are much better. The time came up for promotions. One of my friends got a new job at IBM. And then the person who hired her posted on LinkedIn. And I was like, you know what? I got some new skills. Why don't I just reach out? And it just turned out to be an awesome opportunity. The consulting was a big draw for me. I really love that teaching. And I've always been interested in being a teacher, right? But I also want to stay here in the tech side. And I felt that was a way I could kind of combine those roles. And also use my new cloud skills, and now I'm learning more skills. I didn't know anything about Red Hat OpenShift, right? And that's one of our main products. That's one of the main things that, we are building all of it on. But here, I gained the access, the knowledge. I've been doing a lot of learning and now they're pushing me towards certification, and a lot of these companies will pay for your certifications too. So I'll have a Red Hat certification, before the end of the year.
Oh, that's great. Wonderful. Good. So I'll pause here and see if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to use the chat and I can read your questions out, or you have the ability to unmute yourself and ask anything. So I'll pause for like 10 seconds to see if anybody wants to jump in.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yes.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Yuru. I almost graduate. I'm a master's student in information science. So I'm kind of in between looking for a job, and I think I'm really passionate about the technology consulting role because I feel myself more kind of like to communicate with people and to see how technology could be applied to different applications or businesses. But you know that there's tons of technologies out there that I have not got many experience and how know a lot of about them, such as the cloud, AWS you just mentioned. I just only got a couple of, you know, the web development experience, all those coursework I learned in class, or a couple of internships with some companies just to fulfill their needs of some webs or their Salesforce systems. So regarding my limited experience, do you think how can I get my hands on like a consulting, IT consulting role?
Yeah, so this is something I really preach to pretty much everybody who asks me, like, I don't have these skills, right? There's
Yeah.
so much out there. You're never going to have these skills. And when I go on a consulting experience, I might not even have those skills. It's about you can learn things quickly, right? You can pick things up. Now, here's the beauty of the big companies. Nowadays, we're really pushing this open source technology, right? We want open source. We want to use tools and technologies that are free on the internet, that developers from all around the world contribute to, that anyone can download and use. What's great with open source is that there are tons and tons and tons of classes online, on YouTube, on Udemy, certifications, things like that. When I got my AWS certification, I spent $10 on a class on Udemy, and then I got my certification. There was nothing that my job, you know, I had a little bit of hands-on experience, but it was really all on my own. I definitely think that whatever you're interested in, there's a technology out there that they're pushing and they have a learning for that, and you can definitely do it on your own. For one, OpenShift, Red Hat will do that. AWS, all of that is online. You can even find some free ones if you want to. There's other things like Kubernetes, all of that's online. You mentioned front-end development, web development. There's a new technology called Angular, right? You've probably heard of Angular.
Yeah, I use that. Yeah, I use that.
Yeah, so they like have online, you know, if you went to their website, angular.io, right? And they have like a 101 Angular, right? Every tech is going to have that. And then I also say, don't just get discouraged, right? Oh, I only did the 101 Angular. Well, these new techs are coming out all day. You could find a new tech next week, right? Angular is brand new. You do the 101 thing on the new tech that's out right there. You're just as smart as every other person on that new tech. So you don't need to be worried about where you are with other people. Just getting that experience is fine because someone out there is looking for that. And also, companies do love to see that on your resume. They like to see that job experience. But if you can say, oh, in my own time, I also developed this web app using Angular. You know, I can attach my files for you if you want to load it up. It's like, oh, now this person has worked, she has a master's degree, and she's doing some stuff on her own, some learning, or she's trying to get this certification. It's just another thing that makes you attractive.
Wow, that is great suggestion for me. Yeah, thank you.
I definitely suggest, so yeah, you said like web development. I don't know if that's what you're into, right? But you could just top 10 tech stacks, web development, or like most popular web development software. Figure out what it is. Figure out how you can build their hello world, you know, their just 101 thing. And then you're like, oh, you know, maybe throw your resume on Angular, right? Maybe you can build a front end using Angular with your resume. That's a cool thing. And you can send them the link to your resume on Angular and the hard copy. You know, it's just another thing that shows that you care.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Wow. So you have learned so many great fancy things that I mentioned before. Is that you learn from work, or you're just as enthusiastic about the technologies?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily like, I am enthusiastic about technology. I think I just try to keep my eyes open and try to pay attention. You know, I soak up as much opportunity as I can. If I notice there's a slow time at my work coming up, you know, I will go on my work's learning stuff and I'll pick up an experience I don't have. Like I'm in data and I'm mostly focusing on apps right now, but I know the money is the data and the AI, right? That's going to be the money maker for the future. Like data is the biggest gold mine we have. So I know I want to get there. So I'll take like an hour course in my free time on AI get a little badge through my company for them. It means nothing to no one to them, but to me, I have these little skills. Now maybe I show up on an internal thing when they're looking for a new job and I've had this, you know, or I just at least can talk to someone, have a conversation in regards to AI and data. You know, now I get to meet
Wow.
this new guy. Maybe I share
Mhm.
some of the skills I have, you know, somewhere down the line, things tumble into a new job. It really is just about the communication and not being afraid to just learn about something new or just try it. It's all out there.
Wow. Yeah, amazing. What you did is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Connor, have you seen that it was more about, so when your friend used to work with you and then they went to a new place and then they had an opportunity there, how much were you factoring in that you knew the colleagues and you thought that would be interesting, or the actual mission of the organization? Like, how much of that do you
Yeah.
think you need to keep up with?
So there's like a lot. Basically, I always say this to everyone, like when I talk, especially Professor Jarahi, because that thing is mostly focused on the job or the internship. So what I say is it is like a relationship. Like it's going to be your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your significant other, whatever, right? So you want to make sure that like you also like them. You don't want to go into the office 40 hours a week or whatever you're going to do and be hating it. So definitely, like, I really like plants. I love the environment. One of my things on Fidelity was, okay, let me see what they're doing for the environment. Oh, they're reducing carbon footprint. That's awesome. Oh, their campus has huge gardens and outdoor pathways. That's awesome. Not only do I like that, but now an interview, right? You always want to have a question for the interviewer. You can say, oh, I noticed online, you know, Fidelity's doing a bunch for the environment. What sort of clubs? It's like the interviewer will be like, what? Like, are you kidding? This person heard about this? Like, they actually cared. It's something that you can find. So one of the main things I always say is the company. It's great to have friends there, but they can leave. You'll meet new friends, right? When I was at Fidelity, I met 100 friends at the same time. They left. Now, the thing was not, you know, going for the friends, because she's actually now in California and I'm here. So I went because the opportunity was amazing. It was just a perfect opportunity for me at the time. And it wasn't, Fidelity was great. You know, I loved it. It was really hard. It felt like a harsh breakup because it wasn't like there was any bad blood or anything had gone wrong or I didn't like anybody. You know, I had a floor of about 80 people. You know, we all knew each other. We all hung out. We did a ton of things. And it was hard to leave them, but I just knew the opportunity was better. What I wanted to do for consulting, what I wanted to do was just there. And so I made the plan and I left nice. You know, I gave my 2 weeks. I explained to them and, you know, they offered me, they said, anytime you want to come back, you know, come back, let us know.
That's great. Do you have a website on you as part of your like online portfolio, or is that not as important as the certifications and things on LinkedIn or something?
I think it really depends on what you want to do. So I always say apply to jobs or internships with like a targeted application. So pretty much like we always say the one page is great. And I also say the one page is great. But on my personal computer, I've got like a 5-page resume, right? I've got all my stuff and I will copy and paste to a specific new resume, change some stuff around and make sure that I'm applying to the job with a targeted resume, specific about what they said in the description, specific about the company, things like that. So I say that for me, what I do is not as much front end development. You know, I don't necessarily develop websites. I do more of like the infrastructure, the middle tier code, all the back end code. I help the web developers. So for me, necessarily, my LinkedIn, my certifications, my online LinkedIn resume is good enough. Now, for somebody who does want to do web development, definitely make that website, right? That's just going to show, hey, I love web development. Here's a proof that I can develop this. Here's my beautiful resume on a website. You know, that's a great application for a front end job. For me, it's a little bit less applicable, but you know, figure out what's there.
And what are you, I know personally you're keeping up with trends and you're doing online learning and things like that. Are there any professional development organizations that you've found helpful, or is it more individualized?
I usually just go for the stuff online. Udemy. I mean, Udemy is basically, or I mean, there's like things like Coursera too, but these go on sale all the time. Like I think my AWS class was like $100, and it was like on sale for 10 for this week. You know, it's like every week they're on sale for $10. So, and the cool thing is these aren't like most of the time companies. They're people like me who love this stuff. So they will talk about it and it's really engaging. There's like, 50,000 people who have taken this class all in the comments. They have labs. And I really like that kind of learning. So I tend to go towards that. And, I'm a big Reddit user. So I love Reddit because they have a subreddit for anything that you're involved in at all. I follow stuff for computers, for the cloud. I follow stuff for my plants, and I get a lot of information through that. And I'm like, oh, there's something saying about OpenShift. I work with OpenShift. Maybe I'll click and read the link for a minute. If it's interesting, maybe I'll read the whole thing. If it's not, whatever, right? But it's just like each little tidbit of information, one thing may matter down the road. One thing I read about that. Now I can talk about that with this guy who's beside me. All I need to do is mention this one thing and now we have kicked off a conversation, right? It's just easy stuff. I don't have to really search. Like if I'm just scrolling through Reddit, it's there. Or if I know free time, you're right, I'll just pop in Udemy. Like I want to get a Kubernetes certification. So I've been doing that here during quarantine.
Great. So one of your strengths is your ability to communicate very well and the ability to kind of look at information science and figure out how it all fits together. If you were thinking about how to build your professional network with people, like I don't think it's hard for you to go up to people and just kind of say, this is but if you were an BSIS alum from the last 6 months, and now it's quarantine, and so there's not as many job postings, what what would you not find offensive for a young professional reaching out to you? Is it a LinkedIn connection request? Is it?
Yeah, LinkedIn's fine, and emails are honestly great too. To be honest, these recruiters, like it's their job. They want to recruit people too. And reaching out on LinkedIn is a great way because you can build your profile to look great and you can reach out and it's your face, you can have a nice friendly DM message saying, hey, this is who I am. This is when I graduated. These are the things I'm interested in. Keep me in mind, right? They might not have anything for you then, but they might have something for you later down the line. Once I graduated, I started getting like 2 messages or more a day from recruiters asking me, switch to this job, switch to this job, switch to this job. People ignore them. Don't ignore them, right? I say, hey, thanks so much for reaching out to me. I'm not currently looking for another job, but let's connect for future opportunities. Takes me 5 seconds. I friend them. I've got an army of 500 recruiters. Whenever I need a new job, I'll just post on my LinkedIn and they'll do it for me, right? I grinded so hard when I graduated from UNC to try to find that job. I think I applied online so much. That's another conversation I have. But anyways, I applied so much. I was like, I never want to do that again. So I try to build as many connections as I can so that I make it as easy as I can. So yeah, something that I say is not everyone is, outgoing and can talk to everyone and can have conversations. But something I know that is for everyone is if you find something that you like, right? It doesn't matter if you're shy. If you like it, you can talk about it. Just try to kick up conversations about something that you like. It's a great way for an interviewer to see that you're passionate about something, and when you seem happy about it, that just gets them interested, even if they don't know what you're talking about. Like, oh, that person, she's fun to be around. She's passionate, that's just a great thing that's written on your resume.
I agree.
Yeah, maybe find something you're interested in. If you don't know, be like, hey, I heard you talking about this. It's related this way to my thing. Like, have you guys ever heard about this? And you can kick off on that. It's just so easy.
So how about a step before that? If someone is interested and wants to pick your brain about what you do, and so it's more of like an informational interview, so you're not necessarily a recruiter, but you could help them kind of organize their thoughts of what they can do in information science. Is that something you see new professionals reaching out to you to do, or is that something that's annoying?
So people, no, it's definitely not annoying. I mean, for me, I don't know. I love it. Like, so I eat it up. People have actually, reached out to me saying, oh, I got this job at IBM. I noticed you went to the same UNC as me. I'm not doing anything related to you, but can you tell me about IBM? Or people, like I said, they come out to me at Professor Jarahi's class. They're like, I'm going into my sophomore year. I need some internships. You look at my resume, right? It's not annoying, People like to talk about the things they like. If you find someone on LinkedIn that has similar experience to what you want to do, they're not going to not like talking about their 40-hour minimum work job. That's what they do every day. Like, they have to like it at least a little bit to talk to someone who's interested. And if you come at it nice and, just asking for some help, it's fine. I definitely think it's fine and it's beneficial. And, maybe that person thinks of you down the line, or you line up in LinkedIn and you guys eventually reconnect over something.
What else does Professor Johari ask you that we haven't talked about yet today?
So basically his is more focused on like the job. So we talk about what should your resume look like? What should you do during interviews? You know, how should you dress? When, if you should have internships, doesn't matter if it's paid, things like that. You know, I could go on for a million years about interviews and getting jobs because I did
Me
so
too.
many. I did so many. And my biggest thing I say is just like keep trying, like keep going for it, because your sixth interview is going to be a breeze, because your first interviews you might be like, oh God, you know, I'm scared of this company or whatever. But after a while, it's just the same thing. You know, they're just going to ask some behavioral questions about you as a person. You've got more time, you're sitting through it. It's really just practice. You can practice with your friends. And then also reaching out to me, you know, or someone like me, like even just asking someone on LinkedIn, that's kind of like an interview. That talk one-on-one with someone you don't know about tech and you're like still iffy about it, that's still going to get you more comfortable for the interview. So I always say, yeah, try to get a little bit practice in and, you know, Google like what are the top 10 behavioral questions. Don't, you know, write something down. Don't say it word for word when they come, right? But it's just something in your head like, oh yeah, I remember those 2-3 words from my paragraph that I wrote about that. Now I can just touch on that and I won't be like caught off guard by any questions.
Yes, I definitely agree that interviewing is a skill that gets better with practice, which is a nice thing, right? That it's not like, oh, I interviewed once, I can't do it. It's like, no, keep going. You can get better with interviewing. One of the things that we talk about with unpaid internships, if it's a field experience, is coming up with learning objectives. And one of the things we kind of touch on is, if you have job postings that you see that you're interested in, how can you kind of convert those into learning objectives for a field experience so you can kind of add them into your resume? I'm hoping this is only a short time thing, but what would you suggest for the next 3 to 6 months for people who may have to have virtual internships?
Yeah, like I mean, look at what we're doing right now. Like, I mean, we're having great conversation. We're having fine questions. There hasn't been crazy breakups or whatever. You know, I could share my screen here. Virtual is fine. Like, welcome to the world of being in tech. You're going to be working virtual all the time. As a consultant for IBM, I do a lot of virtual stuff. I do some in-person stuff where I fly, but a lot of it's virtual. At Fidelity, even though I manage the application right there at my desk, right, I still had teams in India. I was meeting on the phone. I was meeting virtually, right? This is great practice, I say. This is amazing practice for the real world. When you get into the job, we all have teams. We all have WebEx or we all have something. You're going to be doing this. So it's great practice. Now, yeah, about the unpaid thing, unpaid is fine. I know for a lot of people, they really want to get paid. You know, they're trying to maybe help themselves get through college or buy some food or rent or whatever. But don't say no to unpaid, because sometimes they can be really valuable. You know, it will be worth it. They get class credit, right? Bam. Maybe it's unpaid, but now you get to take one less class that semester and do that job. So you're not actually losing any time to where you can't do something else, you know? So I definitely say, keep your eyes open. Unpaid's never a bad option, you know, and a lot of times those things will turn into paid, or they're like, okay, this person's proven themselves. Let's, you know, pay them some money. Or just the internship maybe comes 2 years later, they say, you did a great job. How about this full-time job, right? I know Fidelity, for example, they don't want to just get interns in just to have kids in, right? Their whole thing is, let's groom you from freshman year, give you an internship every year, and then give you a job when you graduate. Like, companies get return on their value of the interns if you come back. So getting that internship does increase your odds of getting asked to come back.
I'll pause again to make sure I'm not blocking anybody from questions. I tend to team up with Connor. We could talk on and on, so I'll pause. Well, Connor, I really appreciate you coming to us for this first SILS Connections virtual experience. We hope to continue this throughout 2020. We won't make you do every session, but we hope that
I will. I'll come.
Yeah, exactly. I think you have, I think it's great how well you can place what you learned at SILS and how it's valuable in your day-to-day job. And I think that that only gets people excited that they're in the right place and they're learning the right things and there's a future out there, which we know, but it's nice to see someone actually doing
Yeah,
that.
it's there.
So,
It's scary, there's so much, but tech is like business, You're saying I'm getting a business degree, those guys are like, what do I want to do? There's so much business out there. There's so much tech out there, right? There's a spot for you. There's something that you're going to find and like, and it's changing all the time too.
and I'm really excited that you're trying the consulting thing, because I think that's so right up your alley that I'm excited to see how
Yeah, I
you
like
do
it.
with that.
I'm liking it so far, It's been nice. I started in November, but I really like it.
Good. It's great to see you. So we're gonna probably sign off. Oh,
I've got one real quick. I mean,
Sure.
since we have a little time, if you don't mind, Connor,
Yeah,
this was really great. This is really great for me because I can learn more about what our grads do and where you go. Just thinking a little bit more about that Fidelity example that you gave us. Do you have any advice for me, particularly in this time, as I look towards talking with corporate potential donors and trying to pitch something like a paid internship or some kind of corporate partnership where we come together with our students and then they're able to see and meet our students and do some of these paid field experiences? What advice would you have for me and what opportunities do you see there?
Yeah, so I really see every company trying to do this like accelerated program. Like I said, LEAP is Fidelity's version of accelerated program, but they've got that everywhere, right? Or they're starting to. If you don't have it, the company is trying to get it because they know that it is the best way to onboard new people. And now these big companies too, they are more in line with getting paid internships as well. Fidelity's got some money to spend, so they will pay their interns. Now I suggest some of the big companies around here, maybe Cisco, Fidelity, reach out to them and ask, do you have any accelerated programs for like new grads or even for people who are doing internships? They would like to partner. There are recruiters and HR people who want to link up. So if you say, hey, I've got a School of Information Science, I have hundreds of students who are looking for internships, maybe we can set up time for you to come. I mean, you already do that pretty much, but they would like to do that. And they also know, hey, do you have any grads? Yeah, we'd like to set up a place where we can send them to your accelerated program. So I definitely think that those programs are hungry. And it's also amazing because what it did for me is Fidelity is a worldwide company. We had like 100 and maybe 30 people come in for those 6 months. We all met each other. We all hung out. We all learned stuff together. We worked together, and then we blew up across the US. So now I've got connections every state, and I know them.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity for everybody. I definitely suggest looking for those accelerated programs because they're paid too. I got paid after college. It was the same salary, my full-time salary with overtime. They are good opportunities and they really do introduce you to what it's like to work in the real world before they just like throw you onto a team, which is when a lot of things happen. People apply, they'll get to a team, they're the new guy, they learn about it. At least here, you're like learning what it's like to be an actual employee for 40 hours a week. It's a slow approach.
Do you know of any partnerships that Fidelity or any other places had with other universities and you thought, oh, why didn't Carolina do that?
I don't know about partnerships necessarily, but like Fidelity heavily recruits UNC. I mean, I think the one run before me had the most people from any college was UNC. And then my run, the most people from any college was NC State. So they are searching for these local areas. They want to find them and they don't want to pay, relocation fees for people around the world. So they have big hubs, that's one of Fidelity's HQ. I don't necessarily know about like partnership wise. I wasn't more like on the HR partnerships. I don't know much about that, but I'm sure they are looking for people. They have recruiters, that their job is just to find people. If you can make their life easier, I'm sure they'll be like, yeah, give them,
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks for taking time to answer that since we had a minute.
For sure.
I appreciate that. It helps.
Well,
I got
great.
your LinkedIn request, Yuru. I'll invite you.
Excellent. Wonderful. We're working around the scene here. So, Connor, I wanted to thank you again for joining us today. If it's okay with you, if people ask for your contact information, I already do give it out, but it's always nice to hear that that's not annoying. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I love it. You can get my email, my phone number, LinkedIn, whatever.
Excellent. I appreciate that. So for those of you joining us, by the end of the week, we'll send out a survey so we can get some feedback for more topics and more conversations later throughout the summer and early fall. And so thank you very much to Connor for spending the afternoon with us. And I hope to see you at more of these events in the future.
Yeah, thanks so much. Invite me back. You know, I always come back. I always love taking time out of my day. I'll come to the university when all this is passed too.
Thank you. We appreciate that.